Okay, we are live. Welcome, Dr. Trebor Evans. Thank you so much. Great to see you. Wonderful that you're here today. Just want to thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your schedule to be part of this new CISO Spotlight series as part of my Cyber Intelligence Weekly newsletter. I'm hearing from and talking to top CISOs in our industry and learning a bit more about the human side of cybersecurity, and it's been a great run of this so far. And when thinking of guests for this, I thought no further than you. You've been a great friend and mentor in the industry, and really looking forward to our conversation today.
I appreciate your thinking of me and thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Um, one thing that has been, I think, a constant theme throughout a lot of these conversations is, um, a windy road to get to the role of a CISO. Why don't you give us a little bit of like, what's your background? You know, um, what did that path look like for you? And maybe give us the quick story.
So there you said quick. That's not my strong point, so I will attempt to do so. You have free rein to pull me in. So I'll start with where I'm at. I am a senior vice president and the chief information security officer here at Dollar Bank. We are a 170-year-old mutual bank serving the communities of Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. And it is also my honor here to be the executive sponsor of the bank's Rainbow Alliance, which is an employee resource network, or ERN. And additionally, on another track, I also teach online for Southern New Hampshire University. And I have a variety of courses that I'm approved for. The contracts that I tend to accept recurring is for the capstone of the Masters in Science in the Cybersecurity track. So I have a lot of fun with that. My journey has been a sojourn. I like your long and windy road because I did not know where I was going during most of it. I really was trying to find what is it I think I want to be when I grow up. Um, Saying that far too far into adulthood. But at the same time, what I didn't realize is that my many varied positions, I didn't waste time in any of them. I used the experience from every part of IT, which is where I came from, and adjacent in project management. And I span verticals of insurance, healthcare, education, now banking, various areas of network, server team. I'll date myself. I started out with Novell NetWare, always has a special place in my heart back in the day.
I've touched that
Uh,
in the past. Yeah.
yeah, I am feeling really old right now. That's okay. Um, Desktop was moving into project management when, at the time, one of the many contacts that I had built a strong business and personal relationship with, just by being me, just by doing a good job, just by being good customer service, out of the blue, reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have this security position over here at Dollar Bank. Would you be interested?" And initially, I was a little taken aback because I did not, to that time, despite all of the positions that I've had all over IT, I didn't have security as a title, but I took a step back and I looked at what I did in each of them and the principles that I upheld. And essentially, I was practicing least privilege. I was chasing down framework alignment. I was doing the things, just not formally.
Sure.
So I decided, you know what? I'm going to move out of my comfort zone because that's a bad place to be.
Amen.
It's called comfort for a reason, and I like it, but I have to move out of it. And it worked out really well for me in the end. And over time, I really enjoyed being here at the bank and was in cyber for a few years. And the CISO role became available. So one of the things that, with being the capstone in the master's program, I get a lot of people asking me for career advice because that's their last class before going out.
Sure.
Um, and one of the many things I will always say is to practice self-efficacy. So I stood up and I threw my hat in the ring, and I did it in such a way that I said, I am throwing my hat in the ring, and I want you to know three things. There are things that I can do today as your new CISO and hit the ground running. There are things that any CISO, no matter how experienced they are, coming into this job is not going to know how to do, and they're going to have to learn it on the job or with experience. And the third thing is, by the way, here's the certification I think I need that would help me, and here's my action plan. I commit to you to achieving that certification within 6 months. That
Uh,
was many years ago, and they've been stuck with me ever since. So.
Well, I love that. And you shared bits of that story with me before, and I thank you for sharing that with our audience. And also, yeah, I love the fact about you that you've been so deeply embedded within the academic aspects of this cyber community for many, many years.
Mhm.
Like early days, right? And just wanted to publicly say thank you for that because I think there is and historically has been a lack of really great education in this field, right? And it's been a lot of I think learning on your own for many professionals out there. So
Mhm.
kudos to you for being that deeply involved on the academic side and you know making your mark there. I think that's been a impressive part of your journey that is worth highlighting.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Um, has there been a defining moment for you in your, you know, CISO career so far, right? Where obviously you realized cyber was where you wanted to be and that moment clicked for you, but um are there any other defining moments in your career that, you know, have uh helped you realize that you made the right call, right?
Yeah, well, a couple, but there's one that stands out to me. Um, I had been in the CISO gig here for a little while, and I independently decided to go back to school for my doctorate. And I already had the job, did not need that for my job, for my career. It was not going to do anything for me. There were moments of, ooh, with this PhD, do I move into education full time or something else? And it was a lot of soul searching. And the answer was no. I did the doctorate purely for intrinsic reasons to prove and as a challenge to myself. And I thought, am I doing this because I'm somehow feeling I'm not good enough?
Sure.
And maybe, but I don't think so. I think it was more of a, I have set myself a hard challenge and I'm going to do it. And also knowing that this is for my personal pursuits. Not that it didn't have impact on a professional, because there's so much that I learned from that whole process that I've applied here.
Totally.
Um, but was weirdly less pressure because I got to enjoy exploring the learning because I didn't have that pressure of I need this to keep or get that job I want. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's great. I mean, like you said, get out of the comfort zone, do hard things, challenge yourself, push yourself. You start realizing you're capable of so much more when you start doing that. And you don't know it until you start trying, right? So I don't think you've ever shared that with me before that were those were your reasons for doing that. So I think that's incredible. Um, you know, it's a great segue into a question I like to ask. You know, oftentimes, especially in cyber, you know, our leadership style, how we look at the world, the assumptions that we make, we have to evolve very fast. And you work in a field that evolves very fast, but you
Mm.
work for an institution that has been around for a very, very long time, right? That probably doesn't change as fast. And most organizations can't change on a dime. So how do you balance the two, right? Like, how do you balance like this field that seemingly changes minute by minute, right? With an industry and an organization that is somewhat a constant with a lot of history.
Sure. That's a great question, and we're actually going through a lot of maturing as the bank grows. We are now 12.5 billion. I should remember the fact to off the top of my head of how large we were when I joined, but we were not 12 billion. And getting to see us progress um, over time has been um, really such a rewarding experience. But banking is banking, and I mean no offense to that to any of your listeners, and I'll pick a random department. Oh, let's say accounting. No offense against accounting, but how often do accounting rules change? When the alarm goes off in the morning, well, I say that like I'm kidding, like I sleep till my alarm because I'm not worried about this, that, or the other. That's just my personality. But when I get up, uh, I never know what I'm going to step into when I get to work or when I open the news and see what cyber thing has landed, what global outage,
Yes,
this,
yes.
that, or the other. And I'm never bored. Um, I'm always stressed, and I've been told I'm not happy unless I'm stressed. So that's a good thing, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't give that up for the world. But circling back to your question of balance, bankers, accountants, it's not their job necessarily to worry about these odd, new, wacky cyber threats. So it's my job to allow them to do their job and keep them safe. And just focusing on that helps me reconcile the two, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it, right? There's things that you have to deal with, and you kind of keep it in your lane as much as you can
Mm.
to allow them to do their job successfully. And that's that is the role you chose, right? And it's part of the deal. Um, with that, that brings up, really interesting question or thought. Um, there's a lot of hype around different things out there right now, and
Mm.
there's always hype in the cyber world. If it wasn't for AI right now, it was things like zero trust, and there's always something that's kind of at that front of the hype cycle that I think sometimes gives our teams and leaders in the space a little bit of whiplash. Um, for you, what is one of those maybe more overhyped things right now? And
Mm.
conversely, if you have anything that you think is underhyped, that you would like to, shed some light on, I would love to hear
Sure. Trying to pick one thing.
it.
So I will. I'm going to answer you in two parts for overhyped. And one of them may be a little bit controversial in that some folks may not agree with me because you mentioned AI. The other one, I'm going to tip my hat to my peer in a former interview on your YouTube channel, shout out. My peer at PPG had
Yep,
mentioned third-party risk management, and I agree with him because, okay, somebody gives you a SOC 2, one of your third parties. Wow, you look great on paper. What does that mean?
sure.
Are we protecting the bank? So to open that up and unpack that a little bit, that's an academic term. Um, let's unpack that and say, all right, fine. What about site visits? Okay, that's my answer for overhyped. I realize that's a little niche, but I'll answer that in two parts. I can see value if you're going considering maybe a startup. and they're not that mature. They don't necessarily have some of the due diligence documents that you've requested. You have to kind of go there and see what's up here. But for the most part, or a mature company, a well-oiled machine, somebody that has a SOC 2, let's say you go there. And especially with the board of directors, I always use analogies to help them understand some complex topics. So humor me as I take you on one. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So you go on the tour, they're not going to take you into the room with the bubble gum that makes you blow up like a blueberry. So what value is there? Question mark.
Yeah, yeah,
And I promise my other point with AI, I'm going to carefully word that AI as a mature and reliable absolute 100% control, as I've worded it, there is overhyped.
yes, yes. No doubt, no doubt. And both of those resonate. Even your niche one around like on-site visits for TPRM. Man, I spent some time doing on-site assessments for a GSIB, and yeah, I would remember like going to some of these organizations and they'd sit you in the beautiful boardroom and the nice conference room with all the beautiful pictures and
Mhm.
you know bring you lunch and um, then they'd like sit down the sales guy in front of me. I'm like,
Mhm.
why am I talking to the sales guy? Like, I need to be talking to like your IT people.
Mhm.
They're like,
Yeah,
oh, well, they're behind these curtains over here. I'm like,
right.
yeah, that's where I need to look.
Yeah.
That's where I need to spend my time. So I agree with you. That funny business does absolutely happen in on-site visits, and um, I think depending on the level of desire of how far that third-party risk auditor wants to go, they could easily go in another path that takes them hoodwinked, right?
Mhm.
So, um, so yeah, really love those answers and thank you. One thing that I've wanted to ask you specifically, Trevor, um, what do you think is a uncomfortable truth about cybersecurity today that you wish other executives, business leaders would understand about what you do, what professionals do every day?
Yeah. Again, I'm going to be careful with my wording here, but let's go with there is no business without risk.
Hmm.
So again, okay, let's unpack that. Um, you want to do X, you're online. Let's say I'll pick a vertical I haven't worked in yet, retail. Let's say that you're an online store. Well, if you want to make sure that you 100% bring that risk down to zero, just unplug the cables. Easy.
Yeah,
Oh, you want to be online. Okay, I can give you mitigating controls that will lower, risk equals impact times probability. We can work on the probability, lowering that so that things probably won't happen. And if they do, let's work on the impact of a smaller threat service of what things can get to. And you'll get a
yeah,
lower risk score out of that. It's not going to be zero. It will never be
right.
zero.
Never. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great way to frame it. I mean, almost like it's one of the facts is the more successful you become as a business, right, your risks grow. The
Sure.
more valuable your business is, the more, value you have for thieves to extract, right? So that risk increases and increases in different ways. And yeah, I think that's a wonderful way to put it. Um, So I know you're big on people and teams and being a great leader and trying to be a great model. One of the things, in the cyber world that we see a lot is it's often staffed by people who want to do great jobs, right? Who really want to be on the side of good and make things happen. there is never a shortage of things to do on the to-do list in
Mhm.
cybersecurity, right? Seemingly. So with that said, how do you um, help your team, stay sharp and focused and refreshed and preventing things like burnout, right? That's a big bad word that we hear a lot in the industry.
Yeah, so candidly, if there is a magic answer to that, I haven't found it.
Yeah,
More directly, I would say, knee-jerk reaction, of course, is work-life balance, but how do you, people throw words out, and I always retort with, okay, tell me how you're going to give me an action plan for that. What's the check-in? What's the next step with that? And one of my actions. I love, weirdly, when I get an email from one of my team on the weekend at a weird hour at 11:30 p.m. at night. Oh, about that thing you asked me, and oh, I finished up this framework alignment or this risk assessment, and here's the results. And I thank them and then proceed to tell them you should not be online right now. This could have waited till Monday.
yeah,
I will reach out Monday and let's chat about this. And oh, by the way, never mind, I'm online at 11:35 p.m. answering you. So do as I say,
right.
not as I do. Yeah, that aside, the other one of the other avenues is working with people. One of my catchphrases, I can't tell you how to feel, but I can't tell you how to feel, but um, so I can't guide you as to what your intrinsic motivation is.
Sure.
What I can do is I can ask you about it and then I can challenge you.
Yeah,
And you need to tell me, you know, okay, put the paycheck aside, put the title aside, unless that is part of it, nothing wrong with that. But those things aside, why do you come to work? What makes you proud to tell your family and friends that you do this?
yeah,
What gives you joy? What comes from in here? And then see what opportunities I can help them expand that or appeal to that. It's not always possible, but I certainly try. And the other part of that is to then challenge. That's great. Have you tried pushing it a little bit in this direction, or have you ever thought about doing this that may complement or even go against that?
sure. Yeah, I think that tolerance, to your point, is so different for everybody. Everybody has different reasons for what they do, or they might be submitting something late at night because that's when they get some quiet time after they put their kids to bed, and you
Mhm.
know they uh, they do that because they want a little freedom to arrive 15 minutes, 20 minutes later to work in the morning, right? So yeah, I agree. It shouldn't be a one size fits all for
True.
everybody. And that's a wonderful approach. Just asking people like, how are you feeling, and how are things going within uh your life and your work integration with that life. And so that's fantastic. Um, when we think about younger folks in the field, um, I think there are a lot of folks out there coming up in the field. They say, I want to be a CISO. That seems awesome. It's the pinnacle career within cybersecurity potentially. Um, and that's what I want to do, want to be. However, I think in a lot of cases, younger professionals might not know, what being a CISO actually means or entails at the end of the day. From your perspective, what is it one of the bigger misconceptions that younger professionals have about being a CISO and what that really means?
Well, I assume you're not just talking about TV shows like CSI with the magic screen that opens up and you can see all the text, but yeah, that aside,
Yeah, that's
um, which I really think my parents think that's what I do, but here nor there.
that's definitely what your parents think you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the not tech things. And a very academic and
Yeah,
grammar
yeah,
correct answer,
yeah,
but yeah, the not tech things, um, and really opening that up can mean many things, but the soft skills, the communications, I mentioned earlier about the importance of forming bonds with people that you might not think are important now. Uh, I didn't have cyber on my to-do list,
yeah.
and here we are. Because of that, opened the door that
That
I
was
didn't
not
know
on
the
your
door
bingo
was even
card.
there, right?
Right. Yeah.
And really as an expansion of that, and I hate every word I'm about to say in the order I'm about to say them because I really like working from home, but that face-to-face interaction, there's value.
Yeah.
Certainly with teams, and yes, it can be managed, but to some degree, there really is that interpersonal skills. And, I think about some of the folks that entered at the height of the pandemic that maybe haven't had the chance to have some of the experiences that maybe you and I have
Yeah.
over our careers, and now suddenly are starting to come in probably and having to learn that. So really to take advantage of that. And I think that also helps to, if they're open to it and or coached on it if needed, learning how to not speak tech to not tech people, um, whether it is in terms of risk or in terms of business, which I would argue those are the same things, but not, but yes, but not. Business people understand risk, in theory, at least in my experience, they do. So being able to use those skills and translate and have yourself be understood. Um, I really wonder if folks understand how much of my job that is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a common, you know, thread that I hear a lot, right? It's the relationship part of the job. It is the translation layer part of the job that turns, technical issues into what's the business risk? What's the so what, right? That is so much of the job, right? So I think when we see younger professionals focusing or over-indexing maybe too much on the tech side of things, it's good to let them know and educate them that, hey, the interpersonal skills, the relationship management, you know, the selling of your ideas. Um, you may not think sales is part of being a CISO, but it kind of is. You have to convince people of, your positions and why you think they're important and help like them understand the why. Um, so I think you're spot on with all of that. Trevor, I have a fun one. I really enjoy asking this question. It's the billboard
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So, if you could put a message on a billboard that, every new CISO had to read as they drive into the office, what would be that message? What would you want it to convey?
Well, first of all, I would buy a digital billboard so I could change it every day and have five answers for you.
Oh, I like that.
But if it got stuck on one and I couldn't change it, I would say in all capital letters, two words, be uncomfortable.
Tell me more.
Because I talked a little bit about pushing beyond one's comfort zone. I look back over how did I get to where I am? What are my successes? What are my failures? And I have both. And both are equally important. And really, if I stayed in my comfort zone, I would still be doing whatever it was I was doing. I won't say how many decades ago. Um,
Your
and
secret's safe with me.
well, yeah, well, it's out there. But I wouldn't have achieved something as fulfilling over time, and I wouldn't have grown.
Yeah.
And oh look, they fixed it's going to cycle through. The second message in with that would be nobody else is here to do your job. And what I mean by that is, I kind of in jest picked at bankers and accountants and retail folk. Well, they're there to be the best bankers and accountants and retail folk that they can be. They don't wake up this morning and every morning and think, oh, that security awareness training I took 3 months ago, on slide 3, I really liked his bullet number 5. Well, I really like that bullet number 5 on my slide 3 of my presentation.
I
However,
know.
I have to take a step back and realize that my impact has to be measured, calculated. There's a lot that goes into that, and there's a lot of consequences.
Yeah, be uncomfortable. I mean, that's such a great lesson in life in general, right? Whether you're a CISO or whatever your profession is, take some professional risks, put yourself out there and try to grow. So that resonates deeply with me. Couldn't agree more with that. Um, I know you're um, always improving yourself and looking for ways to sharpen the saw. Do you have any books, concepts, philosophies, podcasts, anything that you would consider sharing with the audience that you think is valuable?
Aside from your podcasts, of course, and your
Right.
newsletters, shameless plug.
Thank you.
Um, So a lot of the books and things are more on the academic side that are way too dry for me to truthfully answer you with any of those. But I will go back to, and I don't even know offhand how long ago this series or book was published. But something that has helped me and something that um, does have an impact even today is that don't sweat the small stuff
Hmm.
series because there's a lot in there to keep the big picture in mind, to live in the present, and this job, career, passion I was going to say can be, I will say is very stressful, but it helps me to say, and this is from that concept, is this going to matter however many years in the future when I am in an assisted care living center and they brought me downstairs for bingo? Um,
Right.
will it really? And then walk that back to 10 years from now. Well, maybe it's a little closer now. Walk that back to 1 year from now. It really just to look at things in perspective, which translates into, okay, I talked about risk formulas and what is the actual impact. Let's not be the inflatable waving arm car sales things they put out with fans under there. People look to you as a leader during stressful
Yeah.
times, and you have to present as such. And I'm almost sad you didn't ask me a question of if you have a superpower, what is it? Because I have an
Mm.
answer. My
All right.
superpower is anticipatory anxiety. I am so good at that. That's my number one thing on my CV and resume. I'm great at it. So, yeah.
Meaning like when you have something on the horizon that just is in the back of your brain, you can't stop thinking about it.
Oh, absolutely. So every meeting, every possible risk, every cyber threat that's out there, every interpersonal interaction, I've already played it out 20 times. I've had 3 arguments with 12 different people.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah.
Hey, listen, I mean, I get it. Those are the demons in all of our heads. I think we are constantly battling with, but I love the concept of like letting go, not sweating the small stuff. Um, there's probably not really a lot of hills you want to die on in life, and it's probably not worth it in a lot of cases. But um, Yeah, that's no way to live life, as being so, torn up about every little thing. So that's great advice in total. Um, as we get close to wrapping up here, I think most accomplished cyber leaders like yourself have had a lot of help along the way, whether it's great mentors, other leaders that they've worked side by side with, shoulder to shoulder, or even folks on their team that they've really relied on as a core, integral piece of their success. Um, anyone you would love to highlight or give a shout out to?
Um, so you didn't ask me for just one, which I was afraid you were going to, because that would be really tough. And there's been so many folks that I work with. It names that Pittsburgh is a small community. You've either worked with everyone or you know somebody that's worked with that person. Was
Right.
Kevin Bacon 7 degrees of separation? No, Pittsburgh 2 degrees of IT and security separation.
No kidding.
Yeah, if I was pinned against a wall, I've taken inspiration. Tom Dugas, who was CISO, has made a crossover to the dark side, being a CIO, but he may still have some CISO duties. So I'm sure he's still minded. Mike Connolly, I've taken inspiration from. Um, Julie Ray at WabTech is another one. I've spoken on panels with her. I look up to the list of names goes on. Certainly get a list together for you. Even folks that have been on my team before and have gone on to great things. Justin Denham. I mean, there's so many great folks in this area.
Yep, know all of them very well. From Justin to Julie and Mike and Tom, great cast you mentioned there. So, and I'm sure there's a lot more that you could name, but um, Trevor, I want to thank you so much. I mean, it's been such a pleasure to get to know you over the years and to be connected with you and be associated with you and learn from you. So, um, you don't know how much it means to me for you to join this and share some of your experiences and some of your journey as part of my newsletter. It's an honor for sure. So, just want to thank you.
Well, back at you, and thank you for having me.
Amazing. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks for tuning in again. And we will look to see you next week.